Hi, I'm Dr. Gingrich. I will be your professor this semester for ANIM103, Animal Care and Training. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. Sometimes I think online courses can feel very impersonal, and you feel like you're sort of learning on your own and floating out there by yourself. And I don't want you to feel that way. You can always come to me with any questions you have. So please always reach out with an email, and I can both email you back and I can also arrange to meet with you online in Canvas. So please always contact me if you have any questions or concerns throughout the course. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I went to the University of Florida for my bachelor's degree, and then for my PhD, I went to the University of Texas at Austin. In both areas, I really focused a lot on behavior, which is one of my favorite things to teach, but I also focused on ecology, evolution, and conservation biology. So all of those wrapped together are some of my key areas of interest. If you ever want to talk about any of those areas, even if they're tangential to the course, I'm happy to talk to you about them. So in this course, we will explore some various aspects of providing appropriate habitats for animals in light of looking at how their natural behaviors can be supported through proper habitat design and then also for training. I look forward to working with you as you learn this material this semester. And please remember that this learning is always a two-way street. We will work together so that you can have the best learning environment possible. I really look forward to meeting all of you. Now let's take a look at the course in Canvas together. We are in the home page of Canvas now. One of the things that you always want to do is to look in this home page for recent announcements. This will show you the 6 most current announcements, but if you want to go back and look at one previously, you can click on the announcement tab over here. When you're in the course home page, the primary link you're going to use is the modules link. First, I want to take a look at the syllabus with you. If we click on this syllabus tab, you go to the syllabus, and this will give you the course policies and information. You can see a brief course description, outcomes of the course, grading policies. One of the things I want you to notice on the grading policy is a policy that is consistent throughout the courses at Unity, and that is this late policy. If you submit assignments 1 day late, there's a 10% deduction from the grade. 2 days late, 30%. 3 to 6 days late is 50%, and then anything after 6 days is not accepted. If you have an extenuating circumstance, you need to reach out to me as soon as possible. We might be able to change some of these late policies if we have a documented reason. The grading scale is listed here. There's no textbook for the course. All of the learning materials will be provided here in Canvas. When you want to communicate with me, please send me an email, and do that by clicking on the email option over here and then sending the email here in Canvas. If you send it directly to my Microsoft account at Unity, I will redirect you and ask you to send it here. They prefer for us to communicate with you here in Canvas because then everything is saved within this course. If we ever have to go back and look for anything, it's all right here. You can expect me to respond to you within 24 hours, and you should be checking your email every 24 hours as well. When you have a discussion board assignment, it will typically have 2 different dates on it. The first is your initial post. That initial post is always due at 3 a.m. on Thursdays, and then you have a response post, and that is due by 3 a.m. on Monday. Thursdays for your initial post, Monday for your response post. Please also make sure that your discussion postings follow the appropriate standards for online interactions. We always want to be respectful of one another. If you require a learning accommodation, please use this link, and that will send you to the appropriate place to request that accommodation. There are some guidelines here for use of AI, and there's also a link that gives you a little bit more instruction about the use of AI. One of the things that is critically important if you use AI, so ChatGPT and other AI sources, you check their information because AI is not always correct. So when you put your name on it, you have essentially verified that you have checked that information. You also should rewrite what AI gives you. Don't just copy exactly what ChatGPT gives you as a response and submit that. You can use it just like you would any other type of information you might get from the internet, but you also want to make it your own. You are putting your name on assignments. It is your writing that you're submitting. In cases where Turnitin is used, there are links here to show you how to use the reports in Turnitin, what it will look like, and what you can do with those reports. So if Turnitin comes back with a score for you and with a document that shows you where that overlap is, then you want to go through and check that and make sure that you're not plagiarizing and that you are paraphrasing the information. If you use any photographs in any of your assignments, you also want to make sure that you give credit for where you got those photographs. If you run into any issues using the technology associated with the course, you can use this helpline phone number or you can email them. They're very responsive, and so if you are having specific technical issues, that is the place to go. This just gives you a preview of the materials for week 1, but I will create a video for each learning module, so I will do that separately. Each week in your announcements, look for an instructional video that goes over the assignments for that week. I strongly encourage you to look at those. They often can do two things. One, make it actually take you less time. So even though you might spend 10 minutes watching a video, your overall assignment should take you less time by watching those instructions, and you're likely to get a higher grade because I will give you some information about what I'm looking for in assignments. Here we have the course summary and dates. Now, one of the things I want to point out here, remember we said that initial posts for discussions are due on Thursdays, and then the response post is due on Mondays. All of this at 3 a.m. If you look down here, this discussion here is showing that it's due Monday by 3 a.m. When it shows this, it's actually looking at the response post. There actually was a previous post, the initial post, that was due on Thursday. So we can't put two different dates on the discussion deadlines. It has to be the very last date. So please don't forget that your initial post is Thursday. The final post, which is what is listed here in the course summary deadlines, is for the Monday. When you go to look at information in your course, you'll come over here to modules, and you'll see that the course is set up by modules, one of these modules for each week. When you expand the module, you'll see that they're all set up very similar. You'll have an overview, you'll have the different assignments that are due. So let's take a look at this first week. We'll see that there's an overview, some objectives, and then a list of your activities. Now, to go down this list of activities, you can click on each of these links, or you can come to the bottom of the page and click Next. And Next will take you down that list. Our first thing was the introductions. That's what we see here. If we go to the next one, we have our next item. This is the learning materials. This is where you'll find your weekly lecture videos. You'll also find a transcript of that if you prefer to read it, and then your different sources here. So these are all things that you need to do that week for the learning materials. Once you've completed those, then you can go into the assignments. This first one is showing you the course project overview. We'll come back to that in a later video, but you will have things that you'll do throughout the course that you then put together as an overall final project. All of your assignments will have a rubric. It's telling you how the points are assigned for each item and what you should include for each item. To view the rubrics for discussions, you can click this button right here that says View Rubric. You also can click these three little dots and it says Show Rubric. If we look at the rubric, it's telling you what you should have and then how many points each thing is worth. When you go back into a graded assignment, that rubric will show, and the number of points you've received on each item will show, and a comment from me if you didn't receive the full points as to what was perhaps missing for that item. Now, your assignments will have the rubric listed directly below them. You always want to read through the instructions very carefully and look back over the rubric to make sure that you've included everything. If at any time you want to go and look at your discussions, you can click this link and it will list all of your discussions. You can also do the same thing for assignments. You also can check your grades here. Library resources are here, so you can go and find information. You can also find information about how to cite sources. So if you're not sure about APA format, you can look at that here. If you have any questions about how the course is set up, grading policies, any of the other policies, please don't hesitate to ask, and make sure you come back to the announcements and look for the video that describes the weekly assignments. I look forward to working with you this semester.